Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This week we are going to be reviewing Telling Time, and we're not actually going to get any new information this week. We are going to review time and introduction vocabulary because, dun dun dun, you have a exam coming up. So the next 2 weeks we are going to review all the content. We're going to make sure that you guys feel comfortable with it. Because you are going to have an exam the half week before Thanksgiving. So that would be the 23rd and the 24th. You'll have your exam. So telling time, this is a concept that, some people really struggle with. So we're going to review it. We're going to take some notes. And if you are not watching these videos and taking notes regularly, I highly suggest that you start, because the notes are going to be incredibly helpful in making sure that you have this content mastered and that you have a reliable source to look back on when you're completing your worksheets or working on an open note quiz or exam. So we're going to go ahead and start. Follow along and take some notes. So the most basic place to begin is with the question, ¿Qué hora es? And this is simply, what time is it? ¿Qué hora es? So in Spanish, there are two appropriate ways to respond to this question. You can either respond with your answer beginning with son las, and then you include la hora, or the hour, y minutos, in the minutes. And this is what we are going to use for every hour, 2 to 12. And then our second option is es la. And then we're going to have la hora y minutos también. So this is obviously going to encompass the 1 hour that is left out from this first formula. So this is going to be every time the hour is 1. So I'll show you some basic examples. And I always think examples are such a great thing to write down, because you have concrete things to look back at if you have any trouble or any confusion. So if I say son las 8:10. So I have it is the hour and then the minutes. So 8:10, it's going to be 8, and then 10 is 10. Another example, if I say es la 1:20. So una is the hour. We know una is 1. Y 20 is the minutes. So 1:20. So this is like the bare minimum that you need to know. But to really excel, there's a bit of lingo, there's a bit of extra vocabulary that is really going to push you over the edge. And some of those words are media y cuarto. So media, it generally refers to like half or something that's in the middle. So half an hour is going to represent 30 minutes because that's half an hour. So an example, if I said, es la 1:30, that would be it is 1:30. It's 1:30. And then cuarto typically is going to be a quarter. But if we are thinking about time, 1/4 of an hour is 15 minutes. So whenever we say cuarto, notice that the R comes before the T. We are going to be referencing 15 minutes. So if I say, es la 1:15, this is going to be, it's 1:15, or it's 1:15. And then 3 more terms that you do need to know. These are going to be the ways we say AM and PM. So they all start the same way. De la. So de la mañana is going to be the term that we use to signify AM, which it technically means in the morning. So if I'm saying it is 1:30 in the morning, I would say es la 1:30 de la mañana. It is 1:30 in the morning. But if I want to say it is 1:30 in the afternoon, I just slightly change this phrase. So instead of saying mañana, I'm going to say tarde. So this is one option for PM, and it's specifically going to reference in the afternoon. And then to say at night, you have de la noche. Okay. So this is pretty much the basic gist of telling time. But there is a certain formula that we use, both in English and in Spanish, that kind of complicates things, but in a good way. I think it makes telling time a little bit more of a fun process, a little more interesting. So in Spanish, they're going to use menos. At certain times to tell the time. So for this class, any time that the minutes are greater than 31, so if the minutes of a certain time are greater than or equal to 31, you will use the menos formula. And this will be good for you. It will help you practice some mental math, something that we all could stand to be a little better at. So in English, I'll give you an English example first. I know each of you has heard someone say maybe like, it's 5 minutes till 3. It's 5 minutes till 3. So in your heads, this is like a subtraction problem. It's 3 o'clock minus 5 minutes. So if we do that math, 5 minutes before 3 o'clock is going to be 2:55. So in Spanish, they are going to phrase this a bit more straightforward. So the same time, 2:55, what we are going to do, we're going to say it's 3 o'clock, and then we're just going to say minus 5 minutes. So son las 3 o'clock menos 5. So this helps you. It's 5 minutes till 3. So that is also 2:55. Because this is the topic that kind of gives people the biggest headache, what we are going to do, we're going to go through and do, maybe 4 or 5 examples of it together. So let's pick a time for the first 2. Let's say I want my current time to be 1:50. In English, we have to think, what would that be? That would be it's 10 till 2. It is 10 minutes till 2 o'clock. So we're going to just phrase it a little bit differently in Spanish. So we're going to say it's 2 o'clock minus 10 minutes. Son las 2 menos 10. So it is 10 minutes till 2. Okay, let's do another example. Let's imagine I want to say it is 12:40. So this would be it's 20 till 1. It's 20 minutes till 1 o'clock. So when we write this in Spanish, it is going to be phrased, it's 1 o'clock minus 20 minutes. And we have to remember, if our hour is 1, instead of saying son las, like we did up here, we have to pick es la. So es la 1 menos 20. It is 1 o'clock minus 20 minutes. Or if you want to think about it in English, it is 20 minutes till 1. Now I am going to write out a couple of examples in Spanish, and I want you guys to take a minute and try and figure out what time they're expressing before I tell you. So this first one, I'm going to try and trick you a little bit. If I say son las 4 menos cuarto, you guys think about what time that might be. And our second example is son las 10 menos 9. So you guys take a second, try and figure them out. Okay, so let's look at this first example. Son las 4 menos cuarto. So it is 4 o'clock minus a quarter. So in English, we would phrase this, it's a quarter till 4. So a quarter till 4 is 3:45. That is your answer for that second, or for that first example, sorry. And then our second example, son las 10 menos 9. So it is 10 o'clock minus 9 minutes. Or if we want to phrase it in English, it's 9 till 10. So 9 till 10 is going to be 9:51. And then the very last thing we're going to look at, so your worksheet this week, your Google form activity, or no, it's an actual worksheet, excuse me. It involves analog clocks, the clocks with the hands on them. So if you know how to read a clock with hands like this, you can go ahead and leave the video. You don't have to keep watching. But I understand that a lot of you are a little bit uncomfortable with clocks like this, or you're unfamiliar with clocks like this. So the thing that we have to note is that there is a shorthand and a longhand. So your shorthand here's what it's going to do. It's going to show you the hour. And you are going to count by ones. So if it is pointing to 5, our hour would be 5 o'clock. And then our longhand is where people kind of run into issues. So the longhand shows you the minutes. And instead of counting by ones, we have to count by 5s. So if the longhand is on the 6, we take 6 times 5, and that gives us 30. 5:30. So that's what time is expressed on this clock. We'll do another example, just if you want a little bit of practice. And once you get really, comfortable reading clocks like this, some of them don't even include the numbers on the side. It just becomes, I don't know, like you just know where it's pointing because you're so used to it. So let's imagine there we go. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the shorthand. It's going to show us the hour. So it's pointing to 9. So it's 9 o'clock. And then our longhand shows you the minutes. So our longhand is pointing to the 3. And then our directions, they count by 5s. So 5 times 3 is 15. So this could be son las 9:15 or son las 9:15. Either way you want to phrase it. Okay, well, that is our review on time. If you have any questions, please contact me via email. You can message me on Remind. I would love to help you out.